As many of you know, Mary Ellen Stone is a woman who doesn't sit back and play it safe. No, that's not really Mary Ellen, is it? She is putting a dent in the world that only she really is capable of making. She has truly changed the landscape of sexual assault prevention, education, and victim advocacy. She consistently looks for new ways to tackle old problems and envisions the possibility of creating a world without sexual assault. Imagine that, a world without sexual assault. Please welcome Kcsarc's Executive Director, Mary Ellen Stone. Mary Ellen.
You know, you're a great group, and this is my favorite day of the year. It's also nerve-wracking, I have to confess. But to stand up here and see all of you here, thank you so much for being here. We have a record 1,020 people registered for this event. I mean, this is good. This is good. What I love about today's event is that it brings us all together. Activists, survivors, supporters of ours, people who are working to change the impact of sexual assault and to stop sexual assault. It's a celebration of the power of our idea that we can really positively change the world. And as Margot mentioned, today we're inviting you to imagine a huge idea, and that is, can we move to a world without sexual assault? It's really beyond any of us can think about, but we're asking you to take a few minutes during today's program and think about that and stretch and imagine what that might be like. For those of you who have been coming to the breakfast, you know that it's been a couple years ago that we started the tagline, Be Loud. You know, and it's moved from being a tagline or sort of a catchy phrase, and now it really has turned into what I think is a rallying cry. Kcsarc has been providing services for 39 years. But I tell you, in the 39 years that we have been doing this work, last year, 2014, stands out as really a watershed year in what has been happening around the country and around the world around sexual violence. Because it seems like the wall that surrounds sexual violence is really starting to crack. And nationally, internationally, we've seen a shift in consciousness. There's a new urgency, there's a new awareness that I have really never seen before. A number of years ago, our motto used to be End the Silence. That was good. But now we have moved it up, and now we're making it Be Loud. Because it's really a representation of this shift that has happened with victims and their families speaking out about what's happened to them. And you've seen this. It's particularly coming out of right now, I think, college-aged women and men who've been really effective of getting this message out. But their message isn't limited to young people. It's something that resonates for all of us, because the message is no one, child or teenager, man or woman, should be victimized by sexual assault. So just a couple examples for those of us to sort of remember what we saw last year. Last year, there was a rape survivor at Columbia University who carried her mattress to class every day in protest for the way the university handled her report of rape. And she vowed to carry that mattress with her every day until the student who raped her was expelled or left voluntarily. Out of that effort became this whole movement called Carrying the Weight Together. And that galvanized students and activists, and they created this National Day of Action last October. So that's one small example. Here's another example. A teenager named Jada was drugged and raped at a party. And when she was still unconscious, the rapist posted pictures of her online with this humiliating hashtag of Jada pose. With the support of her family, she didn't back down. Instead, she flipped it, took a picture of her with the hashtag, went viral, talked about her experience, and it really shifted the conversation about what's happening. And the other thing is that we're starting to see our leaders being allowed, national leaders. Again, around college campuses, President Obama created the White House Task Force to address sexual assault on college campuses. Now, this is long overdue, and they're finally taking a stand against a very significant problem. Colleges are starting to provide prevention programs, bystander information, victim services. And again, they've got a long ways to go, but we're seeing some action here. State of California passed Yes Means Yes legislation, which again is geared at college campuses. You know, for years, and those of us who have been doing this work, we have been saying no means no. That doesn't work, because what it ends up doing is making the victim responsible for what happened to him or her. Instead, by saying yes means yes, it flips this around and says the victim is not responsible. It's the offender. So it changes the way that we're looking at sexual assault. And I'm pleased to say that in Washington State, among other states, we're also looking at that sort of legislation. We're also seeing victims and their families speaking out and being loud and creating hashtags like Yes All Women, been raped, never reported, and all of these are some really interesting online efforts that are catalyzing people to start addressing sexual assault in a very different way. So there's been this dramatic change in how we're talking about sexual assault, and I am so excited that we and you are part of this national movement, because we in this room are demonstrating what being loud looks like. When you have 1,000 people together being loud about sexual assault, we are changing the way our community is looking at sexual assault. You know, at Kcsarc, we envision a world without sexual assault. But in order to get there, we have to be very loud about what victims need to move from being a victim to a survivor. And you're going to hear from people later on today about that. We have to be very loud to look at what attitudes we have to change and what behaviors contribute to sexual assault. It comes down to, in my mind, you can't change what you can't talk about. It's sort of that simple. If we want to create a world without sexual assault, without sexual violence, we have got to be able to talk about it. Otherwise, we'll never make that change. Now, I think Kcsarc is uniquely positioned to make this vision a reality. We've got a solid foundation of proven services which are rooted in research, and we're out-of-the-box thinkers. I am more than proud to lead our staff. They are creative, they are committed, they are dynamic, and I am very, very proud to partner with our board of directors. As a group, we're fearless. We're driven by our beliefs and our desire to improve and innovate, and where we have to, we're really good at improvising. We're change makers, we're passionate, and we're joyful, and we really have a good sense of humor. People are often surprised with that, but we are really quite funny. Importantly, we don't take no for an answer when that stands in the way of progress. And I want to say to each and every one of you, if you take nothing else from this event today, I want you to know that we're in the business of making people whole and helping them feel and act and live in a way that puts them back in charge of their lives. We at Kcsarc are doing that, and you with us are doing that as well. We imagine a world without sexual assault. We're creating this with an unmatched set of services that help victims find their voice, which includes advocacy, policy development, prevention, education, trauma-focused therapy. And let me give you just a real small example of some of the foundational work that we do. We have a 24-hour resource line. It's the only one in King County, and it's the cornerstone of the services that we provide for people. Now, some people have thought this is like a call center. It is not a call center. It is that critical first point of contact with people who provide information, resources, and compassion. The people, the professional counselors who staff that line have an average of 20 years experience on the line. So when we say to victims, we're there for you, we're there for you, people know that they're our top priority. We value innovation, and like many of you, there are many business people, entrepreneurs in this room, we know that innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens built on 39 years of experience, and it happens building on what works and discarding what doesn't work. So we've got the foundation, and we've also got the ideas. We've got a couple I want to just highlight for you. And one of those is Project 360. The belief that we have is that just because you're a homeless youth doesn't mean you shouldn't have the right and the opportunity to recover from the sexual assault that is part of your being homeless. We have long recognized the connection between sexual assault, youth homelessness, and trauma-related mental health issues. And because we know that at least 40% of all the homeless youth have an experience of trauma that happened to them before they became homeless, and that's a driving factor. Conventional thinking said that homeless youth were poor candidates for the kind of trauma work that we do because their unstable living situation was going to get in the way of their ability to go through therapy. We said we're going to find a solution. We didn't take no for an answer. So we created Project 360 in partnership with some of our colleagues in the homeless field, such as Youth Care and Friends of Youth. We developed this full circle approach: prevention and education, treatment, intervention, and what we're seeing is really great results. A lot of you have heard of the results that we're already seeing out of this 3-year-old project. And this year, what I want to do is help you put a face on some of our success. You heard Elizabeth a few minutes ago talking about being loud and why she is being loud. Elizabeth, where are you? Are you right here? Elizabeth, right here. She's a senior in high school and a typical teenager, right? Going out with friends, planning to go to college, to get a degree in culinary arts. She volunteers at her high school providing peer support and works on educating junior high school students about healthy relationships and sexual assault. And Elizabeth came to us through Project 360. And she's doing great. Thank you, Elizabeth. And here's another big idea. We believe our legal system should be transparent and respond to the needs of victims. It's this transparency and attention to victims of sexual assault that makes for real justice for everybody. So 5 years ago, we created Court Watch. And now we have the only court monitoring program in the state of Washington to focus on sexual assault cases, where we've had over 100 volunteers donate over 5,000 hours of their time to observe what is happening in our county's courtrooms, and where we have 60% of all the Superior Court judges signing up for feedback and attending specialized training. This is the kind of groundbreaking work that we are known nationally for, and that moves our community and our state towards the vision we have of ending sexual assault. The final part of how we do what we do is the partnerships that we have. We select partnerships to expand our impact. We know our strengths. We're really good at providing services to victims of sexual assault. That is our area of expertise. And through key partnerships like several people in this room, Committee for Children, the Washington Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Northwest Justice Project, Evergreen Health, Youth Care, Friends of Youth, we're expanding our impact in creating something that is bigger than the sum of all of us. Which brings me to you. Because in addition to being a voice for victims, we're an awareness builder. We are very loud, and we are very much a public voice. We're an authority in our field among leaders nationwide, and getting people to talk about this issue is the most important prevention step we can take, because we can't stop something that we can't talk about. We are a place that creates brighter futures and shows victims that they're not alone, which is why we want you to stand, to show that we all are so connected to this issue. And each of you is such an important part of this conversation. You know, we've got the Be Loud buttons, and I've got mine, okay? People have got yours. People are wearing these buttons. We've got them again for you today. I'm asking you to wear it for a week. And I know people did this last year. Wear it for a week. Use it to start conversations about what you learned today, what you heard, what you thought. Take a picture, post it online, send it to us. We'll do the same. And speaking of buttons, now, okay, can everybody see this slide here? Derek McCrae of OAC. Is Derek here? Derek McCrae of OAC. Last year, he took his Be Loud card He had conversations. See those hashtags? And he sent it to us. I think this is the best picture of the year. I love it. Thank you, Derek. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more because this is what's going to get us where we need to go. So, on that, take a couple minutes this morning as you listen to our speakers. Imagine a world without sexual assault. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do because you're part of what we do. And most importantly, thank you for being loud.